So in the last video we made a post request to our form and we were able to grab the input submitted by user from the form. In this video we are going to learn about the validation, because at the moment I can submit the form and we don't have any validation here. So Laravel has a lot of validation method available, and all this can be learned from the documentation also. So here we'll be using the validation. We'll check if the user has provided some input or not. If not, then we'll give a suitable message so that user know that there must be a certain criteria that need to be fulfilled before they submit the form. Okay, so let's learn about the validation. So first of all, before we go through using the validation method, so let's go to the controller. In the controller we have the validate request. So if I source for this validated request here, then you can see this validate request, which is in obviously in the Element Foundation validation. And here you have a trade validation request, and the things you're interested here is the validate method. So it takes the request, it takes the input as array, and we have the message which is empty, and it has a custom attribute as well, and it checks all things, and then it finally return the error messages. Okay, so we have to use a validate method in order to display the error. So let's use this validation method. So here we have we are getting the title. This was from the last video, so let's use here. So we'll use the this, and then we'll use the validate method, and then we'll use the request, and then we'll have the second parameter is the array of things that we want to validate. This is basically the array of things. So title is coming from our form, so we'll make this validation. So if you want this to be compulsory, you can simply write a required, and if you want the second things, again required, minimum character, maximum character, you can give the minimum, like required the minimum characters should be at least 3, right, and maximum characters should not be more than 20, things like that. You can give all those this. Okay, so now it takes the validation, and now if I submit this form, and you can see it's not submitted, it's submitted, but the error is checking whether we have some input or not, so it's checking. So if I hit something, if I put something, then it's work perfectly. So now let's display this message. So we have to display the error message, and to display error message here we can use the error directory, error error block in the Laravel. So error, and we'll write here the name, which is the title. So here we'll write title title, and then we're in this error we'll write an error, and here we'll display the message, and then we'll write. So this everything is built with the Laravel. This is not made by me, so everything is given by Laravel. So first we'll write error, and then what field we want to validate. We want to validate the title, so we'll write title, and we'll write and error, and then here we'll write $message, so it displays the error. So now whenever we submit this, first of all these things are matched. Is the form is there some input in the field? Yes, then it passes. Is there minimum 3 character? Yes. If there is maximum 20 character, not more than 20 character, it checks everything. So now if I submit blank form, now you can see the title field is required, and we have minimum also. So if I just write 2 character, and you can see the title must be at least 3 character, and if it's 3 character, then you can see we get the output. So we can give the custom message also. So if you want to give the custom message, you can make here array comma, and then you can give the here array, and then you have to write the name of the field, which is the title, and then you write required, and you can give here the custom message. Let's say please enter the name of product. You can give the custom message. So now we must get this message, and you can see please enter the name of product. Cool. Now there is other way to show the error message also, to display error message also. So before we do that, here instead of writing request in this way, generally I prefer writing here request, request request, and object request, request request, and then I'll pass this variable here, request request. I usually prefer in this way, and it works in the same way. Okay. Now if something goes wrong, let's say if I have two character and if I hit enter and the page is refreshed and the input is gone, but I want this input to be still within the form, because if we have the big form, let's say sign up form which contain like name, first name, last name, let's imagine the Facebook form, right? And whenever you submit that form, sign up form, and if you refresh and if your input is all gone to the form, it's lost, then it takes time you to fill again those field, right? So how to preserve those value within the field if something goes wrong? So for that, Laravel use the old helper, and you can use the old helper to restore the thing even if something goes wrong. For example, here I'll write, you have to write the value and then two curly braces and the old and the name of field, title. For example, we need minimum 3 input, and if I write only 2 input, let's say AB, and if it's submit, you see the input is still in the form. It's because of the old helper. So this will be very convenient when there is a long sign up form, and then we can use the old helper so that even if something goes wrong, the value will be still within the field. Okay. Now let's see a way to display the error. I'll remove this custom error message. So I'll remove this message here, and this is the default message by the Laravel. And now let's see the other way to get the message. So to generate the error message, so if you go to the kernel.php, you can see we have a share errors from session, and if you search this file, share errors from session with a vendor Laravel framework in the vendor folder, and here we have a handle method. So it gets all the errors and store in session, all the errors from the session, and then it stores in the errors variable. So in the blade, we'll just loop these errors and we'll display error all in one line instead of displaying one by one. So before that, let's make here one more field, and let's send the error for another field as well, so that it will be more easy to understand. So for that, I'll copy this one, and then here I'll paste here, and let's make this edge the text area. So I'll make the text area and close the text area, and here I'll give the name description, DSC RIPT and description, and placeholder description. And now here we have to write the name as a description here, and let's make the validation rule for this as well. So I'll write DSC RIPT and description. I'll write require. I'll just write require. So now if you refresh this, we have the name and title and description, and if I submit this, and you can see the title field required, the description field is required. Now instead of getting this error one by one, we can also generate all these error in one place. So let's see that. So for that, here we have to go here and anywhere. Let's make the here. Let's do here. So first we'll check if errors any. If there is any error, then we'll just loop that error and we'll display that error in for in if. And within here we can write, let's make the UL tag, and here we'll write a for each errors, ERRORS errors, all adds error, and we'll write info is, and then he will display the error here. So I'll display this within the p tag. Let's make the p tag here, and then we don't need p tag because we have ul, and here we'll display this error. We'll get all the error one by one, loop that errors, and then we'll display here. So what I mean to say here is that you can either display the validation error in this way, or you can display the error in this way. One of this way you can use. So now let's see this. So if I refresh, and you can see here the title is required, the description is required, and obviously you can give here p tag if you want, and p tag, and let's submit this again, and you can see the title field is required, the description field is required. So this is the one way to display the error, and this is the another way to display the error.